Thank you all for joining us here today. I'm Seth Killian, joined by the
Hold
very
on, I have
legendary.
a pet peeve right now. You see on the stream where it has a space in my name. There is no space in my name. Okay, that's a pet peeve of mine.
It's all
okay?
one word.
So it's
Okay,
all one
stop
word.
the show.
Yeah.
Wow, production on the spot there. Fixed it right away. Beautiful stuff. I love those reactions. Here we are, Evo 2024, unbelievable scale, unbelievable number of competitors here. We're amongst the Evo family, very meaningful to me for many years to see it grow and change. I know your brother was sort of the first one to get you into the fighting games, but I see such resilience in your play, such genius. I got to think that family is to credit there. Is it the brother? But also, what does family mean to you, and how does it contribute to your winning?
I guess family means to me like the people like back at home that are always supporting me, like the people that I've met through VR chat, the people that I've met through the fighting game community. Like that's to me is what I think family means to me. I've met some wonderful, I mean truly wonderful people in my entire lifetime, and I would not be here without them.
I can barely hear SonicFox.
Oh, you want me to repeat that?
Up on stage, yeah, this is tough. I think the answers are going out there, but I missed the last part.
Okay,
so I just want to be real with it.
I'll try to be quick. So
I'm going to scoot on in. Yeah.
So essentially, what family means to me is are the people that I've met throughout my entire life, through the fighting game community, through VR chat, through the furry community, through everything that I've been through, and then who have shaped me up to who I am today. There are some people, especially back at home, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I noticed that. Well, let's first talk about like you started playing pretty young. When did you first have a sense that you might be special?
I remember back in 2011. If you guys might know, Evo top placer, Pick Up the Hut. I was playing online. I was doing pretty good. And Pig, he was like, "Hey, like you should go to an offline event because I think you're really good." And I was like 13 at the time, and I was like, "Really?" And then I was like, "I guess why not?" Because it's like it's not too far, right, from where I had lived. And so I went with my older brother. I got 9th, and I got addicted to the entire scene. Second event
is the perfect place too, because you're sort of right on the edge. Of
yeah,
you're good, but like there's something to aim for.
Yeah. So I went there, and then I went to my second major. Winter Brawl, I think. The very first one was NEC. Was it NEC? Yeah, NEC. And then the second one was Winter Brawl. And then on my third major, ECT, I finally got one. And I'm only like 14 at the time, so it was really hype.
So it's 6 Evo championships right now across Injustice, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball. You move kind of effortlessly across these games. What is it that you're looking for in a game when you decide to be serious? You're a threat in Street Fighter, Tekken, right? Like, you're sort of an all-rounder, but like, what is it that allows you to sort of float across the games, do you think? Like, what's the same thing? And what makes a game pop for you? Why do you choose one?
Well, to answer the first part of that question, I love playing fighting games that have a lot of neutral, but more importantly than the neutral, I love the chaos in it. Like, I love being creative. I love like mixing people to death. Like, that is my shit, right?
Shout-outs to Chaos, for sure.
Yeah. I personally love versus games, so I'm really looking forward to 2XKO and the Hunter x Hunter fighting game. But honestly, like when I was much younger, I used to have a lot more stamina and energy to just kind of bounce between a bunch of different fighting games. I'm definitely getting older. Right? I am 26, and I feel so old right now. Okay, so I'm playing less games as a result of it. But
it's all downhill from here, my friend.
Yeah. But still, like I try to grind as much as I possibly can, and I try to play as much as I can. I just love fighting games. It's just addicting to get online and be like, yo, I'm about to do it to this person. Okay.
So speaking of that, right, and shout-outs to the Chaos. Of course, one of the legendary matchups in my mind when I think about SonicFox was the Dragon Ball sort of rivalry with Goichi, right? A really beautiful thing, 2018, 2019. Like, you took each other to the edge there. 2019, Goichi, you could argue, one of the most clinical players around. So whatever the opposite of chaos is, right? You're the force of chaos. Goichi is like this force of like lawful good.
Yeah.
Or maybe lawful evil. I'm not quite sure.
He's definitely lawful evil.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you said it, not me. Watching that battle, I see the competition between chaos and order. What does it mean to you have a rival like that you can really take to the edge? I saw it when you took Goichi to the edge with this. This is a person not known for being expressive and just moved to tears and like kind of ugly tears too, right? Like the ugly cry where it's not like
I made fun of him.
The single classy tear. No, it's
like
something came out. The heart came out on that one. That seems like a very magical thing. What does it have? What does it mean to have opponents like that?
Yeah, having a rival like that, honestly, it's everything. I think everyone in the fighting game community should strive for a rival that is willing to push them to the edge. I think that's how we get better, and that's how we get create really cool storylines. How we create the sense of community. I mean, God knows how many people we got like Goichi and I for just simply having that love for each other, but also that rival for each other. God knows how many people we got into DBFZ. So many people that are like, hey, I want to try to show SonicFox and Goichi that I can beat those people too. Like, having a rival, I think, is everything, especially, again, if one can push you to your limit.
I think there's something, super powerful about the ideas of a specific rival. The other thing I really love about Evo, and I'm curious to see how this feels to you, is you're playing in front of a big audience, right? Like, it's a big crowd, and there's pressure, right? You can, the way that somebody feels like you can feel like somebody's looking at you in a coffee shop, it's like that, but times like 10,000. Yeah. So it's like a lot. But what I love about it is it's not just sort of fans, right? Like, there are other people who are world-class players that maybe you beat down the same weekend, and those are the people who are cheering for you. So it's like being like a symphony musician playing in front of an audience of other symphony musicians where you get that, like, much closer look, but you can really be seen. I think that's something special about this event is not just the audiences. The audience is great players as well as just fans of the game. How do you handle pressure like that?
Well, honestly, that just takes years of practice. Though, it's funny you talk about being a musician because I did play.
I hate that answer. Yeah. The answer is years of practice.
Yeah, honestly, like you just gotta get used to it. The more and more you're on stage, the more you're used to it. But in my case, I mean, it's funny you said musician because I grew up playing violin for like 13 years. I fucking hate violin. Okay, so I switched to piano. But I already played in front of a bunch of crowds at concerts and stuff like that already. So it legitimately didn't bother me at all. Playing in front of people. Maybe at first I get those nerves, but then I look at the crowd behind me as like a sense of hype because I like doing things to make the crowd hype, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I've had those really hype, entertaining moments where you guys are all out of your seats, and that is what I think fuels me. So
that is beautiful. Last year on this stage, or a stage very much like it, I talked to Mena RD, another great all-time champion, about how you use that crowd, right? Like, and whether, if the crowd's against you, what do you do? And one of the things we were talking about just before we started talking on the mics was one of my favorite things about SonicFox's ability to sort of get super hype, get super mad, but sort of not to stay in the right zone, right? To not get overwhelmed by hate down here, but not to get too full of yourself up here. How do you manage that? Like, how do you stay in the zone?
I always have a goal, whatever it is, and I stick to it in my head. No matter what or who tries to stop me, I make sure that I have a plan, and I will stick to it. If the crowd is with me, then great, I'm up. But if the crowd is against me, I'm turning into the Joker in front of all of you guys. So
that's a great counterplay. Like, that is really kind of what it's all about. Like, every top player, by the way, has some sort of jujitsu about what they do when they lose. Like, how do you handle it? How do you turn it? Some people turn it into this sort of hateful fuel source. What do you do with an L? Like, how do you turn that into fuel?
Yeah, surprisingly, when I get my first loss at tournament, I lose all my nerves. Like, I just feel like I play with absolutely nothing to lose. Like, I feel like I play much more nervous when I'm in winners. So, like, once I get sent to losers, I'm like, oh, okay, like, now I'm good. Like, it's like I needed that. Like, I needed that loss to remind myself, hey, I can just kind of play crazy and just play the game that the game plan that I've always had, right?
So you get freedom in the losers bracket. Some people talk about it as a wake-up call. Is it a wake-up call, or is it that freedom that you're saying?
It's a bit of both. It's a wake-up call, but it's a bit of freedom. Like I legitimately play like I have nothing to lose, and I truly feel that way. Like, once I get sent to losers, I'm like, sick. I have nothing to lose now.
So that is a source. I think about player superpowers a lot, and I keep little lists of superpowers. That is absolutely one of them. You play like you have nothing to lose a lot, and I feel like maybe not even just from the losers bracket. And partially, you have the W's already to not feel that kind of pressure, maybe, but like, you don't seem to care if you lose but like, you bounce back. So the superpower I was thinking about is actually like, you know how when some players lose, like Tokido has a famous one, great champion, but like when something loses and he goes, does like the slow like wincing where it's like reality is not how it was in my head. You have like the reverse Tokido. Instead of like wincing, you nod. You go, Like you accept like whatever is happening, and you're just immediately like, okay, that happened. You know, I took a bad one.
Because realistically, you can't win them all, right? And like, that's just how it is. And as much as I would love to just keep dominating everything, you just can't win them all. So it's fun to see somebody like beat my ass, and then my first thought was like, oh, I can't wait to play them again, and it's gonna be so over for them.
That's an incredible superpower. Let me think about. I feel like the same kind of not getting too caught up in it. Like you play from a place of what I call abundance. This is a personal ambition of mine, and I think why you've always been an impressive player to me is I'm at my best when I'm coming from like a large-hearted place. Like when my heart is open and I'm like not too worried about the little stuff. I see that attitude both in not getting too caught up in the wins and the losses, but also like I remember you won Final Combat this year, popped off, did the fatality, made him go through the whole thing, and then immediately went over and grabbed Nicholas's hand, raised it up. Like you're coming from this place of abundance. Like it's very powerful. Like where does that come from?
I would say that comes from just pure love, honestly. It's pure genuine love that I have for not only my opponent.
By the way, that answer is exactly right.
Yeah.
It is authenticity. That's the unblockable, right?
Yeah,
like when you're authentic, and that's what I think. Yeah, please.
Yeah, because I truly believe in my heart that I'm a very kind and genuine person, and I'm a very loving person. And I have to say, like the people that I've met throughout my entire life has helped me learn to be a really like caring and loving person. I'm a very empathetic person. I even have like a yeah, and I have a yeah, I was making me laugh down there.
Yipes confirms.
I have a I feel like a pretty solid sense of justice and things like that too. So I kind of use all these like morals about it because I genuinely believe that I am a good person, and I try to like just show love and just just spread it as much as I can. Because honestly, I don't know how long I'm gonna be around here, right? Like the reality of the life is that it's scary, right? We only got one life, so if I ever have an untimely passing, I want people to know that I love them. So that's all.
Call your mom, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that was a monster answer. It was so right on. I have more questions about like, will you teach us all to not be so like to be more loving? It is literally a very powerful place to be, and I see that show up not just sort of in the attitude of celebrating winners, but like talking about your training partners. Like, hey, I'm going to break you off a piece of this win because you really helped bring me to the end with combat, right?
Yeah.
But also like the donation to the charity of the cancer donations.
Yes.
Like, is this all coming from the same place? Like, how is that? How does those ideas get in your head? And also, by the way, being in this loving place is not like something you're born with most times.
Yes.
Like you got to work at it. So credit where credit is due. But like, how are you? Yeah. How do you get the idea to like? Most people don't even think like that. So where's that coming from?
To me, I truly believe I'm very happy with where I am in life. I'm okay with just like just where I am, right? Like whether it's financially speaking, I'm okay with financially being mediocre or things like that. I'm truly I am. I don't want to be like this rich like millionaire that becomes all snobbish and everything like that. At the end of the day, like we're a community, and the people behind the controller are very, very real humans, and I see that, and I understand that, and sometimes life gets in the way, and I want people when they're like, especially when they're playing against me or when they're around me or they're my friend, I want them to never have to worry about things that are out of their hands, right? Like I want to make sure I can be there for them in the way that I want somebody to be there for me. And I know that, for example, when I donated 10K to Rewind's father, God bless his heart, I looked at him. I remember that event. I was just like, no matter what, I'm going to make sure that I take care of you. Like, no matter what. I truly look at Rewind as a brother from another mother. Same thing with like I said, even when it comes down to just simple like training partner. Are you getting emotional? I'm so sorry. Even when it comes down to training with like simple training partners, I'm like that hard work, that love, and that amount of effort put in. I see the human behind it, and I respect it. So. That's all. It's from the heart.
Excellent answer. No notes.
He's crying. No.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Let's talk about some gameplay. So I don't know. One of the things I think about is, again, player superpowers. I thought about like level 3, like you have this thing I call level 3 tracking. Like level 1 tracking is like you're looking for patterns in your opponent. You see that. Level 2 might be you have some awareness of like your own patterns and you can make choices about those. Level 3 though is something else. I was thinking about this when Final Combat this year. It was, I think, the opening game against Video Games Yo, and it was a good match, but it was 3-0. I think maybe a slight can of bust ass there. But the thing that I remember about that match, what made me go like, oh man, this guy's cooked, was I think the whole match, he did one overhead, blocked, did one low, blocked. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And the thing that made me go like, oh, this guy's got level 3 tracking is because you were tracking not just what they were doing, but what they were not doing. Where does that come from? Like, how do you have the mental space to be tracking not just what people are doing, but what they're not doing?
Honestly, I learned that from my older brother. My older brother, Christian, because he used to be a top Dead or Alive 5 player, like the best Dead or Alive 5 player in the world. And I remember, like, when I was playing with him and grinding with him, legit, I would do something 70 times in a row, but on the 71st time, he would block it for the first time ever. And I was like, what the hell is this power, right? And then, so as a result of him doing that to me, I learned it and I inherited it. And so I look at the situation at hand, and for example, against video, I'm glad you brought up VGY. I just looked at the life between us, I looked at the timer, and I'm just like, what's the only way you rot me here? And then it's the overhead. And then the same thing with the low. I'm like, what's the only, because I blocked the overhead, what's the only way you rot me here? Command grab. So I'm like, okay, MK has a really funny term where it's like, okay, I'm gonna play like ass. Like legit, it's called, I'm gonna play like ass. Which is, I'm not gonna block, I'm gonna mash, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna do something. But I'm not taking this mix up, okay? And so that's what I choose to play like ass at the right moment.
You've got a better name for, I'm calling it level 3 tracking. And you're like, I choose to play like ass.
Yeah.
The secret is.
It's a true MK term. If somebody asks, go up to an MK player and ask, what does it mean to play like ass? They got you, okay?
That is, I keep another list of like top player secret privileges. That is one of them. Like to be able to just play like ass at will and understand not just that that's a possibility, but that's the right strategic answer here. That's the best way to fight whatever's happening. Don't get caught in the meta. You can kind of step outside of it and just do whatever.
I mean, honestly, that goes for any fighting game too. Like sometimes it's just important to be like, I'm just gonna mash, wake up, like light punch or something. Fuck this guy. He's gonna have to show me. Okay.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah. Actually, he's gonna have to show me that I'm not like he's willing to meet me. Because if I wake up jab and he gets mad, that's his fault. I'm laughing. I become the Joker in that moment. Okay. So
you can expose them very quickly. Yeah. It's I think fuck this guy is like a really important. It's also the antidote to top player privilege, right? Like because otherwise you want to not look uncool. You want to not do the obvious thing. So you try and be clever.
It's like that one quote, you're only negative if you're a bitch. Like, that's it. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're only negative if you're a bitch. Like, I'm not even trolling. So,
the first standing ovation of the interview. I don't know about that one. Negative is a state of mind. I love it.
Exactly.
We already talked about the power of your nod. I think that's very powerful to me, like just to shrug off kind of things. But in general, yeah, you're moving. I talk about it as moving past the L's or the W's, but really what it is to me is like you stay in the moment in the games too. Like you don't get bothered by stuff. Even when someone steals something from you, I guess we've talked about this at this point, but I just want to know like how do you get there? Like how do you, because you have to feel the losses, but you just move past it and you stay in the moment. What's the secret to staying in the moment?
I feel like I have like this like stand behind me, like the SonicFox stand. Like when I watch JoJo's, like I have like a stand, like I have a stand behind me. Okay.
Can you describe the stand, by the way?
The stand is just we're gonna call it heavenly restriction. Okay, that's what we're gonna call it. Okay.
Okay.
That stand tells me, listen, all right, some bad shit's going to happen. And that is okay. You accept it because it could also happen to your opponent. So when it inevitably, when it inevitably happens to you, it's okay. Like whenever I drop a game-winning combo, or I mess up a confirm, or I miss a punish, or something like that, and it costs me the game. My stand is like, haha, hold that. I'm like, yeah, like actually I have to hold that because it could happen to them, it could happen to me. And so I'm like, I'll just be better next time. Legit, I'm like, okay, I'll just be better. Like that's all I can think about. So.
Again, perfect answer, but I hate it. You just have to be better.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm like, it's just legit. There's no if, ands, or but. I'm like, you either be better in this moment or die. Like, it's literally do or die.
Oh, I hate that answer so much. I'd like to complain. Speaking of that, when you're picking games, you talked about freedom. anything you want to tell game developers here? What should they be, if they want to attract a brilliant player like a SonicFox, what should they be thinking about?
Don't make your game boring. I hate when like a lot of like game plans get like really homogenized. Like I think it's really boring. Please stop nerfing my characters when I start winning with them, okay? I'm speaking to you at MS booth. I can see you guys are right there, so I know you guys can hear me. But mostly, just like show some level of care and love for your game. Like if you're supporting your game, actively engaging with the community, even donating prize pools, stuff like that. You don't even have to donate prize pools. It's wonderful, but like just showing that you actually care about your community and you're listening to them. That's all I need from me. Like I will keep playing a game if you're showing me that you care. Okay.
I think everybody here at Evo is part of the, part of showing that they care. All the great developers here, and that's been a journey that I think they've been on for a long time. So
yeah, of course,
it's always work in progress, and it's hard to do right. But like, yeah, agreed very strongly. When you have a read on somebody, what is it that you know about them? Do you know their emotions? Do you know you just recognize a pattern? Do you know this person as an individual? Where does the read come from for you?
It's kind of an amalgam of everything you honestly just said. Like sometimes I can tell when somebody's really tilted, and the troll in me is like, oh, how can I get this guy even more tilted? Like I'm like, what is like legit? When I see somebody like getting physically mad next to me, I'm like, what's the most tilting thing I can do right now? Like that is the first thing that comes to my mind.
Maximum mental damage.
Yeah. Actually, because fighting games are psychology, so I just think I'm like, what is the most tilting thing I could possibly do to this person right now? But then I pay attention to like habits and things like that. I'm not sure if you watched Final Combat against Nicolas.
Please. Yes.
There was a bit of feedback data that I was keeping in my mind. There's a string that I was doing with Johnny Cage that's like +1 on block, but he can backdash away from it. And I knew that, but I never punished him once. I was like, I'm going to keep letting you backdash him here because I want to punish you in the moment where it counts. And the moment where it counted was the very last hit where I did 1-1, and then he backdashed and did forward 1-2 super, and he died. And I won Final Combat off of that. And I was like, I knew that bit of data, and I hold on to it until it matters most. So I do it. I try to get a read on people, and then I kind of use it when they're least expecting it.
That is a wow. Thank you for that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it's actually even to go like, slightly more in depth too. It's important to me if they don't realize that I know that. Like it's like really important that like especially like, let's say I punished them once. I want them to feel like I did it because I kind of just like made a YOLO read. Yeah, it's something random, but like I kind of like having data on people and people not realizing that, hey, I'm actually actively using this data against you, but I don't want you to know that I'm using this data against you.
In World War II, the Allies cracked the German code during the war, and they had to pretend like they didn't. They didn't want to let them know that they had completely cracked the code by blowing up all the subs or something like that, so they had to do the same tactic and kind of hide it.
Yeah, I'm just hiding my tells. Like, I don't want people to know that I know their tells. So
okay, let's get to we're getting near the end here, so let's go into the deep end. From chapter 33 of the Tao Te Ching, important fighting game manual. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. What do you need to master about yourself?
What do I need to master about myself? That's a good question. I have to think a second to think about that. What do I have to master about myself? I think the honest answer to that would be I should manage my routine, really. Because, like, sometimes I'd be putting myself in some, like, really depressive, bad habits, if you will, that put me in a pretty depressive fog. And I think doing things like that, doing more active things like working out more or like just hanging around more friends, I think really does do me wonders. But sometimes I think I fall a little bit about that. So I think, yeah, mastering my routine and trying not to fall into depressive habits. Because, sorry, I have chronic depression. Had it for years, but I'm much better about it now.
It is difficult to kind of find that balance. And if it seems out of balance, like, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not in position to take care of anything else or take care of business in the game.
And not even just taking care of business in the game. I truly believe if I can't take care of myself, how can I take care of the people I love and care about? Right, and so that's more important to me than anything. So I try like it's really funny. It's like I can be in this really depressed like not getting on my bed for hours, but then it's like, oh, somebody needs me. It's like, oh, my install's activated. Okay, I'm there for you. I'm ready. I'm do or die.
All right, last question. They're running us out of time here. I'm gay, black, a furry, and the best esports player of the year.
Everything. They've got the everything a Republican hates, but you know.
Sorry. Yeah. We're out of time here, so I got to cut it short. With that as context, what does respect mean to you?
I think respect means to me is legitimately being a decent human being. Like showing empathy towards people, understanding that while there may be differences between you two, you don't have to act like an actual piece of shit towards people, like at all. There's literally zero reason for it. I think if people truly learn to love each other, the world would be a much better place.
I couldn't ask for a better closer than that. Big applause for SonicFox. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, Seth.
All right.
Y'all take care, okay? Yeah, champion. Y'all take care, okay? Be good to
Okay,
yourselves.
we're going to
Love
throw
each
it to
other.
break and be back after a commercial. Thanks, everybody.
Mwah.